The evil ghost behind will not give them a chance to chat. Hao Good-Man saw the evil ghost chasing after him aggressively. He easily lifted the old man from the driver's seat. While Hao Good-Man's hand was resting on the steering wheel, he immediately stepped on the gas pedal. The uncle next to him was so scared that he let out a pig-like scream. That's how Hao Good-Man drove his car recklessly on the road to the end of the world. And the Hulk was chasing after him relentlessly. It turned the already dilapidated city into a complete mess. Watching evil ghost Hao Good-Man, who couldn't catch up with himself, even poked his head out with a mocking expression. The exhausted evil ghost, panting heavily, saw the expression on Hao Good-Man's face. It instantly rushed up, as if it had been injected with chicken blood. He looked at the evil ghost that was about to catch up. Hao Good-Man remained calm and entered the tunnel with a quick acceleration. Evil ghost got stuck at the entrance of the tunnel with a single slip and couldn't move. Just when they thought they were safe, they didn't expect evil ghost's umbilical cord to be able to extend. It charged towards Hao Good-Man. Fortunately, Hao Good-Man's driving skills were superb, and he successfully avoided all the attacks. After the car rushed out of the tunnel. After successfully using falling rocks to trap evil ghost by its umbilical cord and reaching a safe position, the uncle immediately leaned against the wall and started vomiting. Meanwhile, Hao Good-Man was sitting comfortably at the front of the car, looking puzzled, and asked, "Why do you live here? This is evil ghost's territory." The uncle finally finished his explanation of his suffering, saying, "It's precisely because of this that there are few zombies nearby, so we only need to beware of evil ghost." After exchanging information, the uncle brought Hao Good-Man home and prepared food for him. This nouveau riche actually wants me to be the son-in-law who visits his house. Just because men are rare in the post-apocalyptic world, he wants to betroth all 3 of his daughters to me. He even promised that as long as I move in with his family, he ensures that I am well fed every day with the rare food in the post-apocalyptic world. Just as Hao Good-Man hesitated, his 3 daughters surrounded him. Comparison time, Hao Good-Man was embraced on both sides, enjoying an emperor-like treatment. Feeling the warmth of his sisters, Hao Good-Man was delighted. But the next second, he suddenly changed his expression and said to the chubby person, "Forget it. These junk foods from the end of the world are not nutritious at all. Besides, with 3 wives, my body can't handle it. You know what I mean?" When he heard Hao Good-Man's words, the chubby person showed an incredulous expression. The young man couldn't be joking, right? No one can resist such a good opportunity. Do you have any concerns? If you have family or companions, you can bring them along. We will be family from now on. Seeing the wicked expression on the chubby person's face, Hao Good-Man showed a face of certainty. Yes, the target of this old pervert is surely Amy. Otherwise, he would never have saved me, a stranger, under the eyes of evil ghost. He also mentioned that even with evil ghost's abilities, it would be impossible for people to live safely in this position. And when he entered, he noticed that the girl had many bruises on her body. Based on the above observations, it is clear that this family is definitely not as harmonious as it appears on the surface. The good man then activated his dojutsu and began to search the room. When he saw the array of various torture devices hanging in the room, he cursed in his heart. This old pervert is really a big freak actually doing such things. But suddenly, the figure of evil ghost appeared outside the house. At this moment, the voice of the fat guy interrupted Hao Good-Man's actions. "Young man, what do you think?" Looking at the confident fat guy, Hao Good-Man raised his thumbs and pointed at himself. "Your offer is very tempting, but I still prefer to be an otaku in the apocalypse." After saying that, Hao Good-Man opened the door and walked out of the room. Meanwhile, on the balcony, the girl looked at the fat guy with a frightened expression and shivering, she said, "He won't find out, will he?" But what greeted her was a big slap from the fat guy. "You useless thing, can't even keep a man." She saw him loosen his tie and the girl quickly approached, begging the fat guy for another chance. But the fat guy ignored the girl's plea. He directly told evil ghost that he would eat her. This uncouth person neither knew how to respect women nor showed any sympathy. He not only slapped the girl in the face, he even ordered Evil Ghost to eat the girl. The girl next to him was so scared when she saw this scene that she covered her mouth and shivered. However, the fat guy didn't care at all about their gaze. He confidently stepped onto Evil Ghost's shoulder. I treated him with delicious food, drinks, and fun, but I didn't expect him to be so unappreciative and not bring those two girls over. No choice. Since being gentle doesn't work, don't blame me for being tough. I saw the fat guy directing Evil Ghost to quickly catch up. As Hao Good-Man was walking back, he suddenly heard a rustling sound near his ear. He quickly walked towards the alley. At that moment, Evil Ghost's umbilical cord appeared at the spot where Hao Good-Man had just been, searching all around for something. Suddenly, the two zombies controlled by Hao Good-Man appeared in front of him. Seeing the zombies strike a menacing pose, Evil Ghost was shocked. But the next second, a whip from the navel directly separated the zombies. The fat man was furious because Evil Ghost failed to find Hao Good-Man. He directly arranged a supreme package of 9 nines for the Evil Ghost. He didn't stop until he was tired. Shortly after, he showed a fierce expression again, directing Evil Ghost to move forward. Meanwhile, Hao Good-Man, who had escaped the pursuit, was walking back. Suddenly, a photo appeared in his hand. Hao Good-Man took a closer look. This is the other half of the photo he found in the safe. Suddenly, a magical idea flashed through his mind. He put the photo into his pocket and walked towards the base. Upon returning to the base, Hao Good-Man told Shirley Amy about his experiences. Shirley was panicked when she heard this and quickly covered his mouth, telling him to be quiet. She then looked at Hao Good-Man and asked what to do next. Hao Good-Man took out the medicine obtained from the big turntable. Hurry up and administer the medicine. Once it's done, we will leave here. He's looking at the girls with hearts in his eyes. Don't just focus on the medicine, I also have a precious item here. He then took out the box as he spoke. Amy held the sniper rifle lovingly and eagerly asked Hao Good-Man where it came from. Hao Good-Man looked bewildered and beckoned the young lady to come closer. This is confidential. You can't tell anyone. Then he started acting like a rogue. These were all taken out of my crotch. If you don't believe me, you can try it. Hao Good-Man boasted proudly that he had many big treasures in his crotch. The next second, he was dragged into a corner by Shirley, who was holding a truncheon, and was madly attacked. Even the always understanding Amy couldn't bear to watch, holding up a sign urging Shirley to increase the intensity. After tidying up Hao Good-Man, Shirley is giving medicine to her sister. Amy was seen with a painful expression, but suddenly the house started shaking violently. Hao Good-Man quickly activated his dojutsu to see what was going on, only to see the fat man directing the Evil Ghost to slowly approach Hao Good-Man. Suddenly, the Evil Ghost stopped in its tracks. He opened his mouth, which hadn't been brushed for 10 years, and took a fierce breath. This breath almost suffocated them. Evil Ghost was seen tightly holding the fat man inside. The umbilical cord kept swinging in the air. Suddenly, it opened its big mouth and emitted a dazzling light beam, causing the surrounding glass to shatter one by one. Hao Good-Man looked puzzled at the raging Evil Ghost. The next moment, he directly activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Just as they watched, the sound waves they emitted slowly drifted towards the Evil Ghost. Hao Good-Man was shocked because the Evil Ghost had already discovered their location and was quickly running towards them, in order for Hao Good-Man to lead the injured Amy to leave first. Shirley unexpectedly rushed out alone. Facing the powerful Evil Ghost, Shirley was completely powerless. She could only use escaping to buy some time. The chubby man, behaving like Shu Beiji, seemed incredibly excited, his mind filled with who knows what. Watching Shirley running away, the chubby man directed the Evil Ghost to reach out its hand towards her. The sound of Shirley's cries for help could be heard in the air. But when the Evil Ghost opened its palm, it found no one there. The chubby man looked puzzled and quickly instructed the Evil Ghost to search for her. Finally, at the entrance of a square, a figure of a person running away was spotted. Watching Shirley walking into a dead end, the chubby man confidently directed the evil ghost to let her go. He then opened the belt with a flashlight attached and walked towards the dead end. As he ventured deeper into the pitch-black basement, his face beaming with a sly smile, suddenly a figure interrupted his progress. The fatty grabbed her shoulder, but then a pair of hands covered his eyes. Looking at the handkerchief, the fatty thought Shirley had come to her senses. Just then, a strange smell wafted from the handkerchief, leaving the fatty puzzled. Shirley gave the fatty a big slap, sending him flying 99 meters away. The severely injured fatty sat on the ground with a face full of grievances, saying, Your strength is so great." He thought he was chasing after a girl he liked, but never expected that she was actually a cross-dressing badass. The fatty looked at the man in front of him in extreme fear, afraid of what he might do to him. And Good-Man Hao flashed a playful expression, saying, "Brother Fatty, how can you not even recognize your little brother?" It was only then that Fatty suddenly realized, "Are you guys the ones who switched the goods in the alley?" "Wow. You're not too bright either." He looked at Hao Good-Man's smug expression. The fat man grinned and yelled loudly at the evil ghost, "Butcher him for me!" Hao Good-Man remained completely calm, allowing the stones from the ceiling to fall beside him. At this moment, evil ghost finally broke through the roof and punched towards Hao Good-Man, the fist getting close to touching Hao Good-Man. The fat man who was punched into a pig head looked excited, but the next second, the spot where Hao Good-Man was standing was now occupied by a set of JK outfit. Evil ghost stared ahead with its blood-red eyes wide open. It turned out that Hao Good-Man walked out wearing sexy clothes, striking a seductive pose. The fat man looked flustered and said, "Are you gay?" But when he turned his head, he found that evil ghost's eyes were filled with infatuation, leaving the fat man dumbfounded. And at this moment, Hao Good-Man summoned a durian shell with his mind and threw it in front of the fat man. Next, he made a move that disgusted even the zombies. The fat man thought it was directed at him, so he hurriedly crossed his hands in front of his chest in fear. But when Hao Good-Man heard evil ghost telling him to kneel down, the fat man covered his face and laughed like a pig. Then he looked smug and said, "Do you think anyone can control evil ghost?" But the next second, he was lifted up directly by evil ghost. It pressed him directly onto the durian shell, only to see the fat man's expression contorted, making pig-like squeals. Hao Good-Man looked at the chubby face in pain. He launched a new round of attacks on evil ghost, who instantly laughed like a little child. He grabbed the fat man and threw him to the ground, while Hao Good-Man took a small leather whip and stepped on the fat man's buttocks. The fat man was so scared that he asked Hao Good-Man in a hurry, "What are you going to do?" But the next second, he felt like his chest was about to burst open. With Hao Good-Man's crazy output, the fat man lay in unbearable pain on the ground, in order to teach this perverted parvenu Hao Good-Man a lesson to fight fire with fire. He nearly whipped him until his ribs burst. Hao Good-Man stopped only when the parvenu lay on the ground motionless. Hao Good-Man smirked devilishly as he held the whip. "You like to play, don't you? I bet you have a lot of these toys at home," he said. The fat man trembled in fear. "How did you know? If you want, I can marry my daughter to you. Please don't hit me again," he begged. Seeing the man on the verge of exploding, Hao Good-Man's face immediately darkened. He looked at the sweating fat man. "Your wife and daughter are survivors you manipulated and abused. But I'm not interested in that. Tell me, how do you command evil ghost?" The fat man's face darkened. Reluctant to speak, but remembering that Lychee had almost been beaten to death just now, he still spilled the beans. It turns out the fat man used to be a security guard, working just to get off work. If you like him, give him a thumbs up. Off topic. It turns out that when the fat man and his companion came to the casino to look for food and found nothing, he saw a suit worn by a wealthy person. He wanted to try what it feels like to be wealthy, so he changed into the clothes. But just as he changed into the clothes, the ground suddenly experienced a violent tremor. Soon after, Evil Ghost appeared in front of him and reached out towards the fat man. The fat man was so scared that he was at a loss for words, thinking he was about to die. But unexpectedly, Evil Ghost just patted his head and left. Later, he found out that as long as he wore this suit, Evil Ghost would not harm him. Even just adjusting the tie, Evil Ghost would obey all his commands. Hearing this, Hao Good-Man took out a photo and placed it in front of the fat man. He looked at the child in the photo. The fat man showed a surprised look. Is this the appearance before Evil Ghost mutated? Yes, you put on his father's suit along with familiar movements, so he mistook you for his own father. Fatty suddenly realized, so you could order the Evil Ghost as well because of this dress and actions imitating his mother. The enlightened Fatty hurriedly knelt down and begged for mercy from Hao Good-Man. He looked at the chubby guy who was trying to slip away slowly. Hao Good-Man walked slowly over. Whether you are good or bad, I don't care, but you shouldn't pay attention to my woman. Hao Good-Man's face turned fierce, clenched his fist the size of a sandbag, and approached the man. But the chubby guy took out a bottle of green potion from nowhere, gulped it down in one go. The nouveau riche just drank a small bottle of fat otaku happy water. Did not expect him to face Hao Good-Man's full force blow. Even though his heart was pierced, he was surprisingly unharmed. Hao Good-Man looked at the bottle in his hand in confusion. He didn't expect to find such a magical drink in the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the fat man's wound was slowly healing, and he looked smugly at Hao Good-Man, saying, "Young man, you are impressive. You actually made me use this thing. Since we've come to this point, you must die here today." Saying this, the fat man rushed towards Hao Good-Man, but Hao Good-Man remained calm and unruffled. After dodging the fat man's attack, he punched towards the fat man's pig head. The fat man's pig head exploded instantly, splattering everywhere like cow dung with firecrackers inserted in it. But at this moment, the fat man had an undying body. He grabbed Hao Good-Man tightly, holding onto his clothes with both hands. Hao Good-Man, who sensed that the fat man was still alive, felt nauseous. He kicked him out with one kick. The fat guy spun in the air for 360 degrees before finally coming to a stop. Sitting on the ground, he was already panting with exhaustion, but the next moment, he unexpectedly revealed a triumphant smile. He took out the clothes he had just torn from Hao Good-Man and said, "You've been fooled." Then he immediately tore the clothes into shreds. Hao Good-Man was taken aback when he looked behind and saw that a piece of woman's clothing was missing from his back. Hao Good-Man suddenly realized that you pretended to have a life-and-death battle with him, but actually wanted to damage his pajamas to regain control of Evil Ghost. Looking at the fat man's already restored pig head, Hao Good-Man fell into contemplation. He didn't expect that such a drink could regenerate heads. But the fat man didn't give Hao Good-Man more time to think. He directly summoned the Evil Ghost over, grabbed his tie, and shouted loudly, "Evil Ghost, kill him for me!" Hao Good-Man sneered, "I still want to play a little more. Since you are in a hurry to leave, I'll help you out." Following that, Hao Good-Man activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. At this moment, the attack from Evil Ghost has already smashed over. But its attack was dodged by Hao Good-Man with a swift move after activating the dojutsu. Hao Good-Man sees Evil Ghost's attack as slow as a koala's movements. He swiftly shuttles through the gaps at Evil Ghost's attack spot with ease, facing the Evil Ghost wielding a machine gun made of umbilical cords. Hao Good-Man, who possesses the Sharingan, saw through all its attacks. Only saw Hao Good-Man grab the third eye of Evil Ghost and gently apply force. The eye on the umbilical cord instantly turned red. Sensing the situation of his third eye, Evil Ghost became furious. It threw a punch at Hao Good-Man in anger. Avoiding the attack, Hao Good-Man held onto the umbilical cord with one hand, looking disdainfully at Evil Ghost's limited moves. "It's my turn next." Hao Good-Man dashed out like a bullet while saying this. He dragged the umbilical cord around Evil Ghost's hand a few times, then flew towards Evil Ghost's head. He directly used the umbilical cord to strangle Evil Ghost's neck. He also tied a knot in the umbilical cord. Fat Guy watched the fight between Evil Ghost and the one who had the upper hand, Hao Good-Man, with cold sweat running down his face, thinking about how powerful this weirdo was. Suddenly, Fat Guy felt that the effect of his invincible drug was about to disappear. He hurriedly walked towards the door, wanting to escape quickly. But Shirley suddenly rushed past him, giving him a slash on the waist in passing. Feeling like his waist almost fell off, Fat Guy turned his head to look at Shirley. But the pain from his body made him suddenly furious. "You stinky woman, although I can regenerate, being slashed still hurts." But just as he ran halfway, a piercing armor-piercing bullet went through the fat man's body. Seeing himself suddenly lose 99 pounds, the fat man showed an incredulous expression. This weight loss speed is too fast, isn't it? But when he saw Amy holding a sniper rifle, he said in a frightened expression, "How come you have a sniper rifle?" But what greeted him was a sharp long sword. "You better worry about your life first, good man. Big Brother has said that you can only leave here sideways today." Before they knew it, the fat man, who had slimmed down in the blink of an eye, suddenly ballooned back to his original weight. The two men watched as the fat man recovered. Shirley widened her eyes, thinking, "If my sister drinks that potion, she will be able to heal her infected wound." Then, Shirley stared fiercely at the fat man, questioning him about the origin of the potion. The fat man smirked and said, "It's a great thing, no matter what injury you have, as long as you drink it you'll be healed. Just let me go, and I'll give it to you." Suddenly, the fat man's heart started beating rapidly, and he grimaced in pain as he felt the ache in his heart. Is this the side effect that person mentioned? It seems like the potion's effects are wearing off. I must escape from here immediately. But suddenly there came a piercing, burning sensation in his hand, only to see the fat man uncontrollably emit a loud scream. Thought that wrapping an umbilical cord around the neck could control Evil Ghost. Did not expect that he is ruthless. He directly tore off his own umbilical cord with his hands. Seeing the broken cord, Evil Ghost became extremely angry and chased after Hao Good-Man, relentlessly attacking him. Hao Good-Man was not to be outdone. He followed Evil Ghost's arm and arrived at Evil Ghost's shoulder in no time, then activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. He clenched his sandbag-sized fist and punched Evil Ghost's pig head. With a loud bang, the Evil Ghost with a shriveled brain lay motionless on the ground. It was thought that Evil Ghost would never wake up, but unexpectedly, his wounds emitted a sizzling sound of electricity, followed by rapidly visible healing at a remarkable speed. Watching Evil Ghost's tenacious vitality was astonishing. Hao Good-Man's face darkened. "Wait for me to move your head. Let's see if you can regenerate again." With that thought, he launched a fierce attack against Evil Ghost. But the attack was easily blocked by Evil Ghost with his hand. Hao Good-Man looked at the increasingly clever Evil Ghost. Hao Good-Man possessed Sasuke Uchiha. He used Ojutsu to control two zombies circling around the Evil Ghost, making the Evil Ghost feel manipulated and furious. It bombarded the two little Gargas wildly. But the little Gargas moved as if possessed by Usain Bolt, their speed leaving the Evil Ghost in the dust, and even striking Usain Bolt's signature pose. As little Gargas continued to provoke, the Evil Ghost lost control out of anger. Upon seeing another zombie climbing onto his shoulder, the enraged Evil Ghost slapped it away with the strength of a starving ghost. But what followed was a catastrophic cervical spine fracture. Seizing the opportunity, Hao Good-Man flew towards the Evil Ghost like a bullet. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the Evil Ghost's shoulder. Hao Good-Man was seen gripping energy in both hands. He unleashed a set of Pegasus Meteor Fist, crazily attacking the Evil Ghost's head. 0.1 seconds later, Hao Good-Man pierced through the Evil Ghost's skull, and the Evil Ghost lay motionless on the ground. At this moment, Shirley, not far away, was shouting for Hao Good-Man to come over quickly. When Hao Good-Man walked over, only to see the fat guy turned into a strange creature that was half human and half ghost, while at this time, the fat guy was still muttering to himself. "Didn't that person tell me the side effects were just muscle atrophy? Why did it turn out like this?" At this moment, Hao Good-Man came to the fat guy's side. He took out the bottle of joyful water and asked the fat guy who gave it to him. However, the fat guy had been severely corroded by the joyful water, continuously vomiting unidentified fluids onto the ground. He kept saying, "I need to go find him." Hao Good-Man's face darkened. "Who is he? Is he the person who gave you the potion? Where is he?" But at this moment, the fat guy had already been completely eroded by the happy water. His whole person had turned into a look that was neither human nor ghost. The man just drank a small bottle of fat otaku happy water and turned into a look that was neither human nor ghost. He not only became confused and talked incoherently. He didn't even know to escape when the house collapsed. When the evil ghost, who he mistook for his father, reached out to him, he thought the evil ghost wanted to kill him. Watching the man at this moment, even the evil ghost shed tears of sadness. But as the house collapsed, the two of them were also forever buried in its ruins. And the escaped Hao Good-Man looked at the scene in front of him, lost in thought. But the next second, the massive dice in front of him showed numerous cracks, and the cracks grew bigger and bigger. Blinding light shone out from the cracks. In order to find out the reason, Hao Good-Man walked towards the dice. Amy looked at a glowing spot where a huge safe door appeared. She wondered how to open it, and the next second Shirley took a knife and struck the safe. The knife immediately broke into several pieces. Shirley looked in astonishment at the broken knife in front of her. Hao Good-Man looked at the two brainless women with big breasts. He pushed them away with one swift motion. He loosened up his muscles and prepared to go up and make a scene, watching his moves. I didn't expect the shameless person is actually entering a password. Shirley and Amy looked at the photo with a puzzled expression. But when they saw the password behind the photo, they suddenly realized. As Hao Good-Man finished entering the password, there was only a click, and the door of the safe slowly opened. Immediately, a large amount of gold appeared in front of Hao Good-Man. Hao Good-Man's eyes sparkled with excitement as he exclaimed, "Truly worthy of the casino vault! This should be enough for me to return to the original world." But Amy's voice interrupted Hao Good-Man's thoughts. "Big brother Good-Man, how did you know the password for the safe?" Hao Good-Man handed over the photo and explained. "After the outbreak of the apocalypse virus, the casino owner wanted to stockpile gold to make a comeback once the virus was eradicated. He wrote the code to open the safe on the photo, and then tore the photo in half. One half is hidden in the secret room in the office, and the other half is tucked into his suit pocket. After the suit was worn by a fat man, and the half photo was taken away, he didn't even care about that missing half. In a twist of fate, he happened to obtain the passwords to the two photos." But Amy was still puzzled about what Hao Good-Man wanted the gold for. After all, in the apocalypse, this gold was worthless, not even as precious as a bottle of mineral water. But they did not know that this gold could allow Hao Good-Man to exchange for all the items they desired. The man simply touched the gold in front of him, not expecting the gold to rapidly dissipate before his eyes. Surely Amy next to him was stunned by this scene, thinking that Hao Good-Man was the reincarnation of a great magician. Hao Good-Man, however, did not think so. He looked at the skyrocketing balance in his account, turned to look at the young ladies, and said, "No need to pretend. I'm coming clean. I'm actually a billionaire who crossed over from another world." The young ladies found it hard to believe what Hao Good-Man said, but couldn't explain the uneaten food and the disappearing gold. Suddenly, the air fell silent. Amy timidly walked up and asked, "Are you seeking the gold to return to your original world?" But before Hao Good-Man could reply, Shirley asked eagerly, "Will you come back again?" Looking afraid of losing herself, Shirley sought reassurance. Hao Good-Man patted Shirley's head, showing a loving expression. "Of course, my girl is still here. How could I not come back?" Amy, who was standing by the side, was sweetened by these words. She blushed and covered her mouth. And Shirley was also made shy beyond measure. But the next second, she changed her expression completely. He saw Shirley's expression, and Hao Good-Man felt very uneasy. But his feet seemed to be firmly locked to the ground, unable to move. He was directly taken down by Shirley with a cross-kill move. Even a man could not do that. In order to stay away from this hot-tempered woman, Hao Good-Man sat on a high place holding a tuft of grass, watching Shirley, who was still angry. Hao Good-Man showed a playful expression on his face. "The sun has risen. Why are you still reluctant to come out?" Just then, with a swish sound, a pair of little hands reached out from the soil. The sudden sound startled Shirley. I saw a small zombie being pulled out from the mud. It shot towards Hao Good-Man like a bullet. The little sisters were all shocked to see such a fast-moving zombie. The two shouted to warn Hao Good-Man to be careful. Hao Good-Man looked on with cold eyes. He directly grabbed Zombie's neck with one hand. Little Zombie struggled desperately, looking at the little zombie still whimpering. Hao Good-Man smirked devilishly. "Little evil ghost is not bad at all. Even though he has become so small, he still has such great strength." Upon hearing that Evil Ghost is a child, the sisters of Evil Ghost looked puzzled. Wasn't Evil Ghost supposed to be super big? How did he become so small? He was originally this small. His giant form was just his ability. When I saw the baby inside his body at Fatso's house before, I felt it wasn't that simple. He will obey our commands like a child, which indicates that this baby is the true form of Evil Ghost. I originally wanted to research the relationship between Evil Ghost and that regenerative happy water, but the building collapsed too quickly. So, little Evil Ghost, tell me everything you know. Is this what they call happy to be a father in legends? The man only gave this little zombie a pacifier. I didn't expect the little zombie to directly scream, "Mom," at the man. It even jumped into the man's arms wanting a hug. Just a second ago, it looked like it wanted to dig into its own belly. Now, zombie Hao Good-Man, who had spit on himself earlier, looked disgusted and refused to let the other zombie get close to him. Shirley Amy, on the other hand, was gloating. Indeed, where there's milk, there's mom. If it doesn't bite people, I will definitely be its godmother. Hao Good-Man was furious upon hearing their words. He showed a fierce expression, wanting to appease little zombie. He then scolded little zombie, telling him not to bite people in the future, or else he won't have pacifiers to eat. Surprisingly, little zombie seemed to understand, as he immediately quieted down. Seeing how obedient little zombie was, Shirley's maternal love overflowed, hoping that Hao Good-Man would keep him. He thought that keeping little zombie could help him chop zombies. But killing him can get the system reward. Hao Good-Man is hesitating endlessly. Just at this moment, the system suddenly popped up. Congratulations to the host for using their personal charm to win over Evil Ghost and overachieve the task. The 1 billion reward has been credited to your account, and additional reward conditions have been activated. The system is now upgrading for you. For this sudden surprise, Hao Good-Man was completely baffled, but the system didn't give him a chance to react. He directly presented Hao Good-Man with 3 options after the system upgrade. The first option is to pick up external attribute plugins. He can directly collect the attribute points dropped by monsters to enhance his own attributes. The second option is to have an exclusive underground dungeon. You can take shelter there, and also secretly get stronger by leveling up and fighting monsters. The third option is the favorite feature of men, building your own female team in the end times. Capturing a female to become a member of the team will bring abundant rewards, but you can only recruit up to 99 members. From now on, start the countdown. You have only 5 minutes to make your choice. System Girl was interrupted by Hao Good-Man before she could finish her sentence. The next second, Hao Good-Man transformed into a domineering CEO and decisively chose the third option. He said solemnly, "Forming a girl group is the mature choice of a mature man." Looking at Hao Good-Man at this moment, the system showed a caring and sympathetic look, as if looking at a mentally challenged person. After the system upgrade, you will be able to see the favorability level of all women. When someone reaches a favorability level of 100, you can choose whether to include her in the girl group. And girl group members can also enjoy the protection and rewards of the system. Hao Good-Man was so overjoyed to hear this. "Isn't this tailor-made for me?" Originally thought that being promoted to a father was something men couldn't accept. Didn't expect the system to actually provide special rewards. As long as the girl's affection level towards oneself reaches 100, he can directly take them in as concubines. In addition, the system also gave the man a room that bachelors love the most. Hao Good-Man looked at the room filled with all sorts of goodies. He thought about the future life was like a mischievous husky, and he excitedly flopped onto the sofa. At this time, the system popped up a message. Detected evil ghost's affection level toward the host has reached 100. Should we include her in the girl group? Seeing this message, even the goddess of system didn't expect evil ghost to be a little girl. But Hao Good-Man's lips curled up slightly, and he immediately clicked on the confirmation. The screen then displayed the information of the girl group members. Young Evil Ghost Childhood Stage Level 1 Skills. Parasitic Evil Eye Level 1, Disguise Level 1, Sonic Scan Level 1. Congratulations to the host for recruiting the first girl group member. You will soon receive the following rewards: 50 pounds of fresh pork, 50 pounds of fresh beef, 2 rechargeable batteries, 1 bottle of ability plundering serum, and 1 unidentified crystal. He looked at the syringe in his hand. Hao Good-Man looked puzzled. Could this be used to extract the abilities from zombies or evil ghosts? Congratulations, you guessed it right. The extracted abilities can be injected into a person to grant them superpowers. Hao Good-Man suddenly realized, then that fat guy drinks the happy water, it should be something similar to this, right? No, no, no. This is not the kind of low-quality product with side effects. Looking at the system's arrogant expression, Hao Good-Man took out the crystal again and asked what this thing was. The goddess of system smiled wickedly. This is something you need to explore on your own. Hao Good-Man didn't bother thinking too much either. He directly threw the crystal into the meat box. System Girl looks at Hao Good-Man's coin balance. Goddess of System asks Hao Good-Man if he wants to open the gate to return to the original world now. Hao Good-Man shook his head, thinking that he hasn't settled Shirley and Amy yet. The conversation with the system ended. The first person Hao Good-Man saw when he returned to reality was the leader of his girl group. When he looked at Shirley and Amy again, he found that their positive feelings towards him had unexpectedly reached over 80. Thinking that although they had only been together for a few days, it was reasonable for them to have such high positive feelings since they had been through life and death situations together. Then he clenched his fist tightly, thinking to herself, when I come back, I must include them in the girl group. The evil ghost behind her also clenched its fist. It really looks like a case of husband and wife acting in harmony. Surely Amy was speechless when she saw the behavior of the two of them. She thought they might have bumped their heads during a previous fight and become silly. In order to prevent them from continuing to act silly, she decided to intervene. Shirley stepped forward to interrupt them and suggested giving Little Evil Ghost a name. He looked at Shirley with an expectant expression, then glanced at Little Evil Ghost with a silly look on its face. Hao Good-Man had a bright idea, so let's call him Hao So Sweet. He played with Hao So Sweet for a while. Good-Man told Hao So Sweet to listen to his sisters when he's not around. He also told Shirley Amy that he was going back.